So please, let me squeeze that booty. Oh please, let me squeeze. Let me squeeze your booty.
Shut up. Shouldn't you be playing
Let me squeeze your butt. Let me squeeze your butt. I like that.
Welcome to Bro Taste This.
Hello, greetings and salutations. Welcome to another exciting episode of VYV, brought to you by the Los Beatles. I'm George Edison. You may know me as a drug addict, but it's okay. My guitar, it gently weeps. And joining me today, it's the revolutionary.
I just want to smoke weed and be cool, dude.
Yes, that is the voice beyond the grave. My dearest friend, a bond so strong.
Some people might think I'm dead, mate.
It's the one and only Paul McCartney.
Go Liverpool.
Manchester United. And you already know that giggling laughter. It's a hooligan to my right. It's the revolutionary, the imaginary, John Lennon.
Cheers, boys. It's a pleasure.
Cheers in it. Cheers in it. And you know that voice. Oh, wait.
Hasn't said a word yet.
Oh, wait. I already introduced myself. Silly me. And joining me is a super producer. It's, well, the one that really still is alive. Barely. A Ringo Starr.
Fish and chips and crumpets.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, now that we got the courtesies out of the way, how's everybody doing? Welcome back to another exciting episode of Vida y Vino. Today we're going back to the basics. Non-alcoholic joining us today by Lakefront Brewery. Riverwest Stein.
Yes, today we are concluding Spooktober.
Ooh.
Bro Taste This, first annual Spooktober. We are dressed as the greatest rock members of all time.
Yes.
You can guess we're dressed as the Rolling Stone.
Some people might say the Monkees.
I was thinking about the what's it called? The
Arctic
stripes?
Monkeys? The Stripes?
Stripes?
The White Stripes?
Yes.
I mean, we do look pretty
Which
cool.
one's the girl? That's like a brother and sister duo. Hey, have you guys seen that Get Back on the Disney Plus?
No.
They had like a little documentary that came out like a year ago.
Yes. I have not seen it, but
Hell yeah. It's like a bunch of like unseen footage that just came out because Disney owns everything now. And they released it, right? And like an ongoing theme with the Beatles is like, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We've been the Rolling Stones. They just kept shitting on the Stones like backstage. Like, thank you so much. We've been the Rolling Stones.
that's like Mark Normand. Every time he leaves the stage, he says, "Thank you, I'm Kevin Hart."
Yeah, praise Allah.
No idea why, but he does it every single time.
It's consistency. That's why it makes the Beatles and Bro Taste so great.
That is true.
By the way, for the audio viewers, this is going to get really annoying really fast. I'm going to keep slipping in and out. Kind of like George Harrison on his last days before he died.
That is, yeah. Aren't you supposed to be John Lennon because you have the longest hair?
No, well, technically, they both had long hair. But
Fair
one
enough.
was more dirtier.
Who was dirtier?
George Harrison.
Definitely George.
Really?
Definitely
Yes.
George. Don't insult me.
I feel like John's because he was with Yoko Ono.
Well, he was a dirty man in many other ways than George.
He kept her in check. What do you mean?
Kept her in check.
He was a disciplinarian.
She broke up the Beatles.
Did you hear her account till later? It's like John Lennon would beat the shit out of her and all that stuff.
It was
Which
times.
is normal.
It was a time. Today we're talking about non-alcoholic beer, like my compatriot said, and we're also talking about the scariest movies that made us.
Ooh.
And we'll be reviewing a few that came out recently.
Mm-hmm. Talk about horror cinematic universe.
Exactly.
The HCU.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on now, I'm good on this now.
Hey, that was beautiful.
Let's, bro, taste this.
Hey.
Riverwest Stein non-alcoholic beer because I'm still doing.
Cheers.
I still got 60 more days of sobriety.
Wow.
I think it tastes really good. Very creamy. Gives you like a full beer taste.
You know, I see like a lot of people our age, and you know, you should do this a lot younger too, are switching over to like the carbonated sodas instead of like the actual sodas, like the, I can't think of it, the bubblies and stuff like that, right?
Like sparkling water?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The carbonated sodas?
Yeah, the little sparkling waters are like carbon something.
Oh, you're saying that people are switching to sparkling waters and not drinking soda?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is a good substitute if you're trying to like get the same like foaminess and like Phill, like I don't know.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
It's very full, very hearty, but it's not like it goes away. It's hearty for the beginning, and then it just turns into water.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I do not like this at all. I don't like beer at all already.
You're like not a beer guy?
I'm not a beer guy famously, but this is even worse. I don't know. It's just very full body.
Tastes like liquid bread in a good way.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it tastes like beer. Like, how does it not have alcohol in it?
Well, it technically contains less than 0.5%.
Less than 1%.
Damn, you're not sober anymore.
Contains less than point. Yeah, this is not.
Look at you. You put that away. Go make yourself puke.
But this
I should.
This is less than 1%.
Yeah, it's very, very low.
Technically, we're all on GHB then.
Yeah, that's not halal, Luis.
Yeah, it's 60 calories. God damn, 12 grams of carbs.
That's why I'm feeling so full right now.
I would think it'd be more carbs, to be honest.
More carbohydrates.
But this isn't my cup of tea. I can see that if you're a beer drinker and you just want to enjoy a non-alcoholic, I can see why you'd switch over to this. But you know, to each their own.
I would switch over to this if like my marriage was on the rocks and like this is the last straw. She's like, this is an ultimatum. You need to either pick the kids or you're drinking. Why can't I have both?
That's a rough ultimatum to be put through. Because, like, how bad has it gotten to get to that point? Like, it's either me, the kids, or the beer.
Or Lakefront Brewery.
Very specific.
You know how they say beer is like surprisingly nutritious?
Yeah.
Like how it almost has electrolytes or shit like that?
Yeah.
I think people should take this shit to the gym.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah. It's like you were saying, like it's like beer soda water. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like so
in between sets of your deadlift.
Exactly. Like I think I just heard like a Jason Momoa thing, like little short where he was talking about how like on the set of Aquaman, his ass like couldn't do like a thing. He wasn't feeling good. He wasn't looking good. So he drank a fucking Guinness.
Yeah,
and he just recharged him.
Yeah, he famously during the filming of the first Aquaman movie, he refused to not have beer in his diet. Like, 'cause what a lot of these guys have to go through in order to get super jacked is a strenuous diet and extreme discipline and workload. So he told his nutritionist, like, I don't give a fuck what I do, but include Guinness in my diet.
Yeah.
Like, include it so that I'm able to still function. And I mean, the guy already is super big and jacked.
Wait, is he like an alcoholic or like?
No, but I'm sure he just wanted a bev. Like, he's like, I don't want to suffer all through this. Like, let me drink every now and then.
He's already suffering with Amber Heard's his co-star. Give him some Guinness.
And the dude fucking powered through. And he was jacked. And Aquaman made $1 billion. So.
Oh yeah.
And Guinness hasn't used that for a commercial.
Like, good enough for the king of the sea.
Quit being out of shape and drink Guinness.
Man, so
Hey,
go ahead.
We have some emails to write. You know.
Some
We do
emails
it, yeah.
today?
We got some pitches. Scary season is almost over. We are towards the end of October, and the scariest thing has happened. Kanye West was given 45 minutes to talk freely.
On what?
45 minutes. That was a good.
Oh, with Tucker?
No. He was on a podcast.
He was on Drink Champs, which
Exactly.
is Noriega's, and I forget the other guy, but they were
Who's
just
Noriega?
Nori, the rapper.
Oh, I'm not
Nori from early 2000s, 90s.
culturally illiterate, I guess.
Wasn't he
Early
like
2000s, 90s. All
like
right.
Pete Diddy's like right hand man for a little bit?
Yeah, he's a very prominent like early 2000s rapper, but he's had a podcast for a long time now.
Early adopter, Tim Ferriss type.
Not early adopter, but like for the last couple of years, I'd say. And he's had on like a lot of big rappers, like he had on Lil Boozy and like all people from like different neck of the woods. And it was the third time that Kanye has been on, and arguably the worst time for him to be on.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
Did you
after
hear what
everything
happened?
right now.
Yeah, did you hear what happened with him at with his bank, J.P. Morgan and all
Oh,
that
they
stuff?
kicked him out.
yeah,
He got canceled by his bank.
Exactly.
They finally combed through the footage and whatnot and figured out that in like 2005, Kayne West said that President Bush doesn't care about black people. So the bank saw that, they're like, oh, that's too controversial. We got to stop it right now.
Yeah.
That's where they drew the line.
That's
Yeah.
where like
That super famous clip that everybody saw on repeat.
See, the thing you don't know is Hank Hill recently became the CEO. So,
by
he's-
God.
yeah, like he's a real patriot. You know what I mean?
That was for Hurricane Katrina. That's when, because they felt like Bush wasn't doing enough. So it was Mike Myers and him doing an ad on like MTV, and they were like trying to raise money. And yeah, Kanye West just looks directly at the camera and he goes, "President Bush doesn't care about black people." And Mike Myers, known for Shrek and Austin Powers and
The Love Guru.
he looks at him and he like looks back at the prompter and he just tries to continue but looks deeply disturbed while he's fucking saying
He
his
does like a
line.
quick like take back. He's like, what?
He's like, that's not on the script.
And just before that, Mike Myers was like, whatever you can donate to these families in need. And just looks to his right. President Bush does not care about black people.
And yeah, just deadpan. But yeah, man, he said some very controversial things on Drink Champs. He was saying how he thinks that the reason what's his name? Why can't
Pete
I
David,
think?
Ski Davis.
No, not Skeet. Fuck, dude, this is awful.
What, Trump?
No. Floyd.
Joe.
Floyd.
Oh, yeah.
What's his
Yeah.
name? I'm sorry.
George
what's his
Floyd.
George Floyd. I can't remember his first
Say
name.
his name.
You mean Samuel L. Jackson, Floyd?
He said that Kanye West said that
That's a
he
callback.
passed away because of fentanyl reasons.
Well, he's like, why are we even discussing this? Everybody knows he died of fentanyl. He's like, just making it so like,
Everybody
what are
knows.
we doing here,
Just like
guys?
throwaway line.
Yeah.
Like, we know carbs are bad. We know smoking is bad for you. Like said it with that much like attrition and like certainty. Yeah, exactly. And he also said he talked about how there were similarities with George Floyd and how Virgil Abloh passed away recently because of cancer, who very famously made Off-White and Pyrex and the Louis Vuitton show. Very good friend of Kanye's. They both came from Chicago. Said that he died that was staged, and he's like, and I'm not gonna cry right now because that's how they get me, and the Jewish media is gonna control this, and they're not gonna let me say what I want to say.
nope.
And man, I find it increasingly difficult to defend this man.
Well, I
And then
mean,
you listen to Homecoming and you're like,
Damn, that's a banger.
flashing,
Oh,
lights.
Dude, Watch the Throne.
Coming
Little
home
Otis, you know?
again.
Little Otis.
Bro, no mercy, brother.
Dude,
like Love Lockdown.
you know?
Oh, I haven't heard this song in a minute. Yeah, you're right.
In Paris, you know, like in Paris, bro.
Yeah, the first dude. Okay, so then my fiance and I actually came up with a scenario. What would it take for you to stop listening to your favorite artist? Like, what would he or she have to say? Like, we even came up with the scenario of like, like what if Frank Ocean, after not making music for so long, is like, I'm making a new album.
And it's straight this time.
No. I hope it's not. And he goes, new album's coming. He's doing press, and he goes, I want to deport Mexicans, and I wish I could do it with my own bare hands. Like, would you still listen to the album, or would you like pass on it? Like, what does it take? Kanye, all of us here love Kanye. What would it take for you to officially be out? Because he's getting very close.
Well, I think once
He is getting very close.
I think the tipping point is once you start like blaming a group of people.
Like he's doing now? So what he's doing now?
Oh yes. See, Mexicans are okay. We can take crack shots at them all the time.
Yeah.
Like
Because
you do.
They don't control the media. That's the kind of humor you can find here at Bro Taste This, boys.
And now we're no longer on YouTube. And now we're no longer on Spotify.
We are taking off.
Yeah. Like, are you guys still on the Kanye train, or are you guys slowly?
Oh,
I've compartmentalized it.
Yeah.
Like
you can separate
like
the artist.
the old Kanye was a different person. This is a much more like, I don't know, mentally anxious person. A much more mentally unwell person.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he himself has said it. He's diagnosed and he doesn't take like the meds for it because he feels it blocks his creativity. So like, I don't know. Like now, I don't. It might be easy to say, but as long as he doesn't fucking kill somebody, like, I don't know. Like you can listen to the old records without like thinking that this is like the same person. You know what I'm saying? Like this was 18-year-old Kanye who didn't know what he was gonna be, didn't know he believed in anything.
well, at the same time, he lost his kids, and like some like 20-year-old comedian says blew out his baby mama.
Yeah, that. I mean, we've talked about that before, but ultimately, like,
He's hurting. I mean,
Yeah.
if he like don't get me wrong, just because he's hurting doesn't mean like he's echoing the talks of like Adolf Hitler.
yes,
Like pre World War II, he's like, you know what, something's wrong here, folks, and there's a group of people
and it's
behind
not
it.
Me. Something's a problem, and it's not me.
He offered to buy. He not offer. He did buy
Parlor, right?
Parlor. Yeah.
Candace Owens' husband is the CEO.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Bro.
That was everybody's like thinking that
Love triangle.
Candace. No. Everybody's thinking Candace just fucking played Kanye.
Oh.
Like sold her.
I
sold him
think
Parlor.
she played her husband,
Wait,
cucking him for Kanye. Come on, man.
No, I mean like selling that like cheap ass app to Kanye, have him, you know,
and stayed her husband as the CEO.
like he already was.
That is so interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you saw the way they were holding hands, all tender like.
That means nothing.
Come on, man. There's something
That
there's
means
something
nothing.
going on there. I know that.
You think there's something going on?
Well, Candace
Based
Owens,
off of an image.
based off of the
Based
image.
off of a photographic still in which they were both wearing a T-shirt that said what? You think that's a love triangle?
Exactly. That's the same logic I use for the Twin Towers. There's a still image of the Twin Towers going, but yet no plane entering.
I have to agree with Phil.
It's all about the still images.
There's not
baby.
a single guy that wears a matching shirt with a woman he doesn't like. There you go.
Yep.
Fair enough.
Checks out by the BBC radio.
That's a great point, actually.
They were wearing matching shirts.
Solid analysis.
Yeah, this is grade A journalism right here.
If I
No,
could direct this to the jury.
Let's get back to the real meat and potatoes.
Well,
Yes,
I mean,
please.
that
The
is
films.
that is the
The
real
movies.
Movies.
Films.
Movies, cinema,
The silver screen.
Yeah, but who?
Hollywood, baby.
But who owns Hollywood? That's a different discussion.
God
All
damn
right,
it, Phil.
folks.
You're not gonna turn this into the Third Reich power hour.
Yes, we are not going to.
No.
Yeah, let's talk about the spooky
Unless
Now, hold on.
the spooky movies that made us. I'd love to hear your opinion, Juan, because you probably have the highest threshold for things that you're willing to bear cinematically.
You know,
I don't know what that means, but
hold on. I don't want to take this from you and whatnot. But before we even get to the movie thing,
Yeah.
what is your earliest memory of like scary movies? Right? Yeah. No. What are some earliest memories of like scary movies for you guys? Right? 'Cause,
Dude,
like, for me, like, it was like the first Nightmare of Elm Street.
I have a core memory that has defined the way I live life.
Oh, jeez.
Of a scary movie. So I remember where I used to live. I was 5 years old at the time, and I lived. It was a duplex. So underneath was a cousin's family, like my aunt and shit, and their son at the time. My cousin was, I think, early teens. Like he probably is like 5 or 6 years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, so very early teens, you know. And he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna," and I looked up to him because he was an older kid and blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna watch a scary movie. Like, you probably don't want to come over." And I was like, "I want to watch it," just because I wanted to keep hanging out, and I thought I was a big kid.
I'm cool too.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
And so he's like, "I'm just warning you, it's a scary movie." And my mom was like, let him scare himself. He'll be fine, blah, blah, blah.
It's a lesson. You know.
And it's Chucky 3.
Oh,
that
no.
that was one of my movies too.
Yeah, and there's a scene where they have one of the teenagers like tied up against the floor, and they're like, Chucky's gonna get you, and this is girl and this other guy like playing around, and he's like, all right guys, it's not funny, blah blah, and then Chucky's head starts spinning backwards, and he starts like killing the guy, and I started screaming and crying and ran upstairs, and to this day, I have a fear of dolls because of that.
Damn.
Like I can't walk down the aisle at at whatever Walmart or Target or whatever it is. Like I get the heebie-jeebies.
Well, that's better. Some people could have been like, I only get aroused when there's a doll near me now.
Because of watching Chucky.
I mean, especially
at
Chucky
least it
3.
imprinted a kink on you, you know?
Yeah.
Dude, Chucky 3, there's like that hot Chucky doll.
Yeah, hot Chucky.
Yeah, there's a hot Chucky doll.
Yeah, what's
She's
her
like,
name?
She made me discover what like those feelings were.
being scared and horny, that's the
what
worst
is-
thing to do.
What is her name? I always forget.
She's really
Trisha
famous
or
or
something.
something like that. She's got. I can't even do her voice.
Trisha Sparks.
Oh, Maddie Mo. Maddie Mo. She's got like a New Jersey accent.
Yeah, she's like
Oh,
trashy.
Chucky.
They put like giant tits on her.
Oh,
Like it's
It
really
was
bizarre.
Tiffany Valentine.
Tiffany. Yeah, that's what it is.
There we
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
more like Tiff Double D's.
That's a better
Oh,
stripper
that's
name
really
anyway.
bad. Don't say that. God, I'm gonna have to cut that one
What
too.
did you say?
I said Tiff Double D's.
No,
like
what did Juan say?
I said that's a better stripper name, anyways.
Yeah, Tiffany Valentine.
Tiffany Valentine.
Yeah,
A similar movie for me was the same, Chucky.
Same.
And like speaking of that, like a story about that. Do you remember that, Leo?
you guys saw it together?
No. When we were in on a Florida trip, and then we went to like a gift store, and they had like giant life-size Chucky dolls, and I just put it in the middle of the hall, and I called you over to that hall. Do you remember that?
I think so. I like vaguely remember just like.
Yeah, because your dad got super mad at me because I made you cry.
So you agree? Yeah, dude. They still sell those at like Spencer's and stuff.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
they have them like everywhere.
Every Spencer's has one.
Child's Play. Get your own Child's Play doll.
But
Yeah, the one and dude, now they have. So I've gone back and seen a few of them, like the original Chucky movies, and they're really like corny and cheesy. And I'm like, I get it, you know.
They still kind of hold up though. The first one and the second one
I mean-
of the Chucky movies, solid.
I think a lot of those early like '90s movies hold up just because they were filmed with like practical effects. So like they still, I mean, it looks like shit because it's an old movie, but the effects themselves still look pretty realistic.
A real sense of danger as opposed to like CGI. And, like,
Yeah, because now you get like, dude, Chucky has his own series on the Sci-Fi Network.
what
Yeah,
the fuck is that?
it's with the original cast too.
It's so strange.
Why?
What's the
I
little
have
boy's
no
name? Andy.
idea. Yeah, I have no idea, but he has his own like show.
How
on-
could that be an episode-based thing?
Right, like, what are you gonna come back next week and be like? Did they find out who it was?
Yeah.
Well-
what the fuck?
The whole plot of Chucky is like Kalima, Kalima. He's trying to possess the little boy's
He's
soul.
like a cursed doll or
No,
something.
it was a serial killer / thief who died, and like his spirit ended up going to the Chucky doll.
Fair.
Isn't that the original?
Something like that. But the reason why he wants Andy, little Andy, is
Producer Leo, can you look that up? Yeah, he wants to get back into a real man's body. Yes.
but
Can I-
he's fixated on Andy for a reason, though. It's like, well, that's the old movies, and the series. I haven't seen the series, but I've heard about it because people are like, "Oh, it's the original cast." The whole series is about him just taking over people's bodies. Like, fuck Andy, I'll take whoever wants me to possess them.
Well, I know in like now we're just having a Chucky podcast.
Yeah,
Dude, this is
boys.
baller.
Let me like bring up a different movie
Please.
that also had like a very similar effect on me. The Blair Witch Project. Like, did you
I'm
guys
very familiar with it.
did you guys catch it?
I
Like,
didn't watch it at the time, but I've
Early
watched
on-
it
okay.
like after the fact and like understood everything.
Once it
Dude,
became available on Netflix and
honestly,
stuff like that.
no. Okay, I caught the Blair Witch Project. I don't know, when I was like 5 or 6.
In the
Wait.
in the heat.
In the heat, while I was like subject to all of like the fake media that they had put out,
Very spongy.
all the
Right.
fake news that they put out, and I was like 6, so like even when you get that like Trump effect, they're like, huh, he sounds really confident when he says that.
Yeah.
Like, do I believe him? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, even though like 90% of you knows it's not true, like just that little 10% that like it's just, there's something about that little 10% effect that really made that movie just a little bit creepier.
Wasn't that movie 2006 or 2008?
It was
No,
early,
no, no.
like
2002,
early 2000s.
2004.
It wasn't
yeah.
that. It was that
2000s.
early because I remember
Yeah.
like people saying like, "Dude, it's real footage."
That's what I'm saying. That's
Everybody
what I'm saying.
talked about it,
Everybody talked about it like it was
Dude,
found
it's
footage.
real foot. Dude, they
Well, the first one actually came out in 1999.
Oh, see, there you go.
Wow.
it was that early.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
knew it was early 2000s.
Yeah, because it was like
Yeah.
very, very like, and you know, I saw it in I think it was like 2010s. Like after it was like, you know, this is a fake movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Like they put out statements saying like this is clearly like fabricated and blah blah blah. But like I remember, yeah, people would tell me about it when I was younger, and they're like, dude, witches
It's
are real.
dude.
Witches are. I had
Well,
a cousin.
kinda.
I had a cousin who was if you just go on TikTok. I had a cousin who was fixated on like his conspiracies and
You mean Phil?
no like he was in on this stuff like before I even knew what it was. Like he would tell me about the dark web, and he would tell me like, dude, jet fuel doesn't melt still beams, and like I'm like, I don't even know what that means. What are you talking about? And I remember him telling me about this movie, like, dude, what, like it's real, like there's dark matter out there, and like the witches are gonna get you.
I'd be scared.
Yeah, and you're like 13, you're like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? This sounds terrible.
And I bet you your cousin was hanging around some like hot goth chick, and then he took that as like gospel. Like, oh shit, the hot goth chicks believe this. It's gotta be true. It's gotta be true.
But overall, solid movie. Either way.
Yeah,
like
very
The Blair Witch?
it honestly holds up. Like it was fucking terrifying back then when
Yeah.
you're subjected to that sort of media and you're a little kid.
Yeah.
Dude, we will probably like if you caught it then in like that generation, you will probably never get scared like that in your life ever again.
Wait, so
know
you
what
saw
I mean?
this at a young age, right?
Yeah, I saw it at a young age, and I was subject to like all the shit like Luis was, like with all your friends saying, "No, this is found footage. This is real.
Yeah.
This and that."
Like that's why it's called Blair Witch Project.
Yeah,
You think it would be called Project if it was a movie?
Yeah, exactly. So, just like how sweet and exquisite like that scare was at that age. It was
Chasing
awesome.
the dragon?
Yeah, just like it made you feel something, like, and very much so. Like,
So it's safe to assume that you at a young age were stroking your chicken to the scene where she's like peeing in the woods. She's like, I'm so scared.
of course,
She like pees in the woods and all that stuff.
yes.
She's like, don't film me, stop. And then a couple minutes later, she's like, oh my God, Steve, where are you?
You recreated that scene to a T.
It's a good
I
scene.
feel like I was watching the movie. A girl peeing in the woods.
It's a good scene.
Producer Leo, what's the scariest movie you've seen? Because I feel like you are really into scary movies.
Well, like, not like a lot. I see some scary movies like fun now, but like, dude, when I was a kid, the one that got me the most was like a complete accident. Was just on do you guys remember like Telemundo?
Yeah.
Telemundo.
They would bring back like old movies and
Yeah.
like dub them in Spanish, like bad Spanish.
Very bad Spanish.
So I don't know. We're at like a family gathering. I was like 4 years old, 5 years old, barely like comprehending what life is.
Yeah, what you see on the TV is real.
Yeah. And then the Exorcist comes on. And nobody's paying attention to it because they just put it on for background noise. But I'm just sitting there, and I got so scared that every time I would like see TV on Telemundo, I would like cover my eyes because like, dude, especially when like her head was turning around and she was like puking after that, and I don't want to see like another Telemundo movie again because I kept thinking it was even The Exorcist. I couldn't even read yet. It
Dude,
was
that's
just like,
fucking hilarious.
That is such a twisted movie too. Like
Yeah, and
the
I was
gore
like-
in it, and
It's a real fear for like really religious families. Like Mexicans are really traditional. So like being around your family members and it's like, holy shit, el diablo está ahí. Like just seeing this little girl like, fuck you, bitch.
your mother's a fucking whore. That movie, dude. That maybe because I saw it so late in the game and like all the, especially I think the scary movie was it 2 had a scene.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was Scary Movie 2. They like
Yeah.
completely recreated
You
it.
scared that one weird hand.
take my
hand.
good hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that scene is fucking, people were like passing out in the movie theater when that movie came out, and like it was just insane.
Dude, speaking of that movie, I don't know if I already told you guys the story, so cut me off if I did.
Wait, which movie?
But of the
Oh yeah, you
story,
did tell this story.
the lucid dreaming one.
No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
Yeah, what do you
Wait,
mean?
wait.
So, like when I was still in high school, I was experimenting with binaural beats, like like this style of like biohacking type thing, where you listen to certain beats in one ear and beats different frequency in another ear. So like perhaps like a 30 hertz sound in one ear versus like a 50 hertz sound in one a different one, right? And this is all like real, right? It sounds fake or whatever. Like,
bro, are you sure you're not
Andrew
Daredevil?
Huberman, like Stanford professor, has done like fucking podcasts and like talking about like how it's real, like it is a thing. They do it in labs. I think it was discovered by fucking NASA or like the FBI or some shit. But point is that I was doing that, and there's a certain frequency where you're supposed to be able to like control.
Shit yourself?
No, you're supposed to be able to control your dreaming.
Uh-huh.
It was like a lucid dreaming frequency,
Yeah.
and I listened to it when I went to bed, and I had the most like vivid dream ever, where like it felt like I closed my eyes and I woke up and I was still like conscious, but I was already asleep and I was already dreaming. And half the dream consisted of me like floating over my own body,
I'm such an asshole.
looking at the bitch from The Exorcist, also looking at me floating over my own body. Like she was there floating on top of, like, it was like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich of me, and like she's floating there, and then me looking at the scene, like
Floating over her?
Yeah,
Damn.
floating over. It was so terrifying, and like I couldn't control anything. It was just like a nightmare frequency or something. Like it was terrifying. The most.
This is a recurring dream?
No,
Oh,
this
it just
wasn't a
happened
recurring
once.
dream. It was just like the most intense, real dream I've ever had.
It
in
sounds
my
like
life.
sleep paralysis.
Oh, yeah.
I've had sleep paralysis.
It's a common
But
thing.
yeah,
This was
and like you want to scream and wake up.
Yeah.
No, this was me conscious looking at this for like what felt like an hour or something like that.
That is.
Well,
Dude,
you were,
Like speaking of like sleep paralysis, but like something like that's happened to me before. It used to happen to me a lot, where you look at your own body and you just can't wake
Yeah.
up. Dude, I was like, there's been like a time where I was also like that, where I had like really intense sleep paralysis, and then like I woke up, I opened my eyes, but I couldn't move my body, and there's always a shadow right
What?
there, looking right at you. You're like freaking out, and you're like trying to wake up, but you can't, and it's like the worst feeling. And then until you finally do, and you're like,
oh my
thank you,
God.
thank you, John, for passing me in the.
you guys
cone.
never gotten more like that?
I used to, because of the Chucky movie at such a young age, I had recurring nightmares for what felt like ages 4 through like 6. And like one day they just stopped. But from, age like 4 to 6, I had the same recurring nightmare of like Chucky killing me, my younger brother. He was only like 1 or 2 at the time. And it was just like every night, what felt like for like weeks, and then it would stop, and then it would happen again. Do you guys remember Sábado Gigante would have El Chacal?
Yeah,
Well,
clown or whatever?
No, he wasn't like a clown. He was like some dude in like
like
a
a
mask.
jester type.
Yeah,
dude.
like a jester, and he would be in my dreams too, and like just his mask and like outfit, just it's not even like scary. He just looks like.
I mean, I think he's supposed to be like an executioner.
right. He just exactly.
Yeah,
Like a silly one.
yeah, like
Yeah.
a silly executioner thing.
He's not, and I would have him in my nightmares all the time. And so, dude, it was like, I could understand, like, I was lucid and I, like, could remember it. I could recall exactly what happened. Like, I could tell you, like, scene for scene what was going on and how it was all happening. But, like, I couldn't control it. Like, I would run away, and then the next day it would be the exact same dream. And I would try to stop it. It was fucking terrifying.
Damn.
Yeah. Not a fun time.
Have you guys tried to lucid dream recently? Because actually, because like
Actively try to lucid dream?
there's people in subreddits that are like, oh, if you like Juan was saying, if you do some weird freak, that sounds like some Daredevil shit. You put 2 different frequencies on.
Yeah.
You're kind of dressed like Daredevil right now. Actually, you got the little glasses going.
What can I say?
Get the Matt Murdock going
What
on.
can I say?
But if I were to do like lucid dream and like look over myself, I'd be pissed. Be like, why are you sleeping this way? What are you doing? Like, you can be sleeping better. Your neck's all hurting right now.
This
Like,
is terrible sleeping posture.
you have sleep apnea, brother. You got to do something about this. But one of my earliest memories for like, scary movies was Nightmare on Elm Street, right? My mom was working night shift and all that stuff.
You said it was your coming out party, right?
Well, that's the second one. That's the second one now. The first one is because it was so scary, right? And I was like maybe 5 or 6. at the time. Elementary school, Lake Geneva and all that stuff. And in elementary school they had the colorful play rugs and all that shit.
Yeah.
And, the little like book corner. You can go in there and read books.
Yeah.
So I'm out there with the little kids like, bro, I saw Freddy Krueger last night. Not even Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, oh, I saw Freddy Krueger last night, right?
Oh yeah, I know.
And bro, they were having sex. Just telling a bunch of little dude, I saw sex last night.
How old were you?
Like 5 or 6. Elementary school, to the point where like our activity time is to go play with the books and like, hey, I saw sex last night.
And they're like, what's that?
They're like, oh my God. Like they knew more than I did. So I thought sex was like just being a girl being topless and just making out with her. Right? Like, oh my God, he's having sex.
Wait, is it not?
Hey, if that's the case, then I'm a fucking playboy. I'm a playboy.
I fucking murder. My body count is 3.
Woo, come on now. But no, it's just being so young and being like, I saw sex. Like, just like all pumped and whatnot. And it's kind of embarrassing, right? I didn't really have much like scary like nightmares of like Freddy Krueger and all that,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get like real steady chronic nightmares until like maybe way too old. 15, 16.
That's not too old. It's never too old to have a nightmare.
And it's always about Bigfoot. I shit you not. Like Bigfoot has always been like
a constant in your life.
Constant. And like the reoccurring nightmare that always gets me, it's Bigfoot trying to get into wherever I'm living. So like, no matter how many times I've moved, there's always going to be like a night where he's going to come. It's just this, chilling. And then I see his shadow. I see his shadow outside the window. And he's just trying to get in. He's trying to get in.
Bro. He's waiting for you. He's scoping you out.
Well, there's been multiple times in like these nightmares where he's got at me. Like, it's pretty scary.
Does he got you?
I don't want to talk about this, actually.
On the next episode of Bro Taste This, we finally find Phil's Bigfoot.
my big white Bigfoot. My
Dude,
white buffalo.
We're going to be outside your house. Like, we'll get him for you. Don't worry.
He's actually real. So he's actually just fucking with me.
He's a guy. Look at this pussy. What's the scariest movie you guys have seen? Like
recently?
Not even recently, but just like
in general.
Yeah. Because there's been some like uber scary movies lately.
For me, it was probably the Blair Witch Project, but I already told you guys that one.
Well, quick thing for like Blair Witch Project. So I was looking it up, and you guys know that movie only costed $60,000 to shoot.
What? What's
like,
up?
and then even after like production, everything, and like publishing it, their budget was like still like $500,000, but that movie brought back $248 million.
God damn!
Talk about a unicorn.
Yeah, a lot of people enjoy that pissing scene. They're like, oh, I don't know why
Just
I like
kept
this.
Jesus
the movie
Christ,
out
this
for-
guy.
I don't know why I like this so much.
You're into yellow showers, huh?
You mean golden showers?
But yeah, I think one of the scariest movies I've seen is probably just because like the audio was the Sinister movie.
Bro, for real though. I saw the movie in theaters, and that came out in 2018, 2000, around that time period. Well, no, even later.
That's the
Even
same.
earlier than that.
Sinister and Conjuring are the same franchise, right?
Yes.
I think that's like 2016, 2014.
You know what? I'm gonna say right now.
2012.
I'm gonna be
was-
stepping on some
Wow.
limbs and toes here, but I think those are quite literally some of the most overrated horror movies. Like,
Overrated?
yeah, they're so like.
They're like super highly coveted as
I
like,
guess, but like
the new standard for
I
horror.
give every single one a chance, and like
I think the first two Conjurings were the best. I don't like the spin-offs with like Annabelle or like
Yeah.
the newest Conjuring, but the first Conjuring was actually pretty good.
Bro, I
Yeah.
saw the first Sinister in theaters, right? And I was like, oh, trying to close my eyes actively. Like, I'm too old to be like in a movie theater actively. Like, I can't see.
Dude, it's because like the noise in that movie, it's like it's not even music. It's just that makes your like heartbeat.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like all you hear is like, boom, but it's like
Yeah.
at a frequency where like your heart's just beating faster and faster and faster for no reason. Sometimes nothing scary is going on, but all of a sudden you're like,
that's
Oh my
literally
God.
some of the science behind
Yeah.
binaural beats.
it's like
It is.
No, I will say the direction, James Wan, it does such a good job in those movies. From like, he'll just record really weird angles. Like it'll be from like, just a door that's just barely open, or like an angle like through the staircase. Like those kinds of shots that makes you feel like you're being watched or something's there. Like
That's a good point, yeah.
fucking
And Leo had a really good point, like the way that they use like their soundtrack to make give you anxiety while you're watching the
Yeah.
movie. You know, like, yeah, that's really good at point.
overall, I think a good horror movie that gets slept on by a good director is Guillermo del Toro.
Oh, Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah,
Nobody sleeps on that guy.
Dude,
Whoa.
that guy's
He's so prolific.
one of the most loved directors of all time.
Guillermo del
You know who
Toro.
doesn't get enough love?
Stephen King.
John Carpenter. People don't talk about him enough.
Have y'all seen E.T.?
You guys are really sleeping on the Stanley Kubrick feller.
No, the one that really like changes the way that I think about like scary movies was Paranormal Activity.
Oh,
Yeah.
another
Like
homage to the
found-
found footage.
Found footage
footage,
style.
It was like security cameras, and it's like we think there's something here, and just like that ending scene where like, the main character is just staring at the camera, and you're like,
Oh yeah, and she's in her sleepy
what
gown.
the
She's got like a
fuck
little
is
crane
going-
top.
Yeah, you're just, dude.
I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, and that
I do
movie-
kind of like those.
That movie is just, especially the first one, because you had no idea what was happening. You're like,
And she was so hot too.
I don't even remember what
I
those
have
characters
no
look
idea
like, and this
what-
guy's always like, "Yeah, she was so hot,
Dude, she
she was
can't.
smoking."
She
you
can
have
be saved.
Such a good memory when it comes to like females.
Hello.
Dude, his spank bank runs wide.
No.
This motherfucker's
It
constantly,
runs deep.
constantly making deposits.
No.
But yeah, those movies.
Me and Kanye West have been locked out of the bank. Him as actual bank, me and my spank bank.
Well, what's like
That was a bad
Dang,
review.
underrated horror movie? You guys have seen?
underrated horror movie.
I got a good one for
Please
this.
Like,
go
what's
ahead.
something
I-
like you find scary and actually good in that life?
I got a good one for this one, and like I had never been exposed to this franchise until like 2 weeks ago. But Hellraiser, have you guys watched that?
I've never seen any of those.
They look so cheesy because of the villain and like the needles and shit.
Pinhead.
Yeah, so I always thought it'd look cheesy and it wasn't like my thing, but it's phenomenal. Like just like the way they build the universe, like the way they have like a whole lore behind like the demons who are like coming to get you.
Yeah.
It's pretty fascinating, and it like it makes you jump like down some rabbit holes, like wondering like, well, how did this happen or why did that happen that way? And like, yeah, it was a really solid movie. The remake was like, in my opinion, pretty fucking good.
Leo, can you go to XNXX and type in Hellraiser, the first movie? And no, don't actually do that. But no. I'm getting to a point here. In the first, because they're old movies, right? They're from the 80s, maybe 90s, right? Hellraisers.
Yeah.
In the first Hellraiser, the whole plot to it is like you find this puzzle and you activate the demons, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
It's like a portal to hell.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not too familiar with the Hellraiser
Yeah.
series.
the subplot to that is like this dude and his wife bought this house, this old decrepit house, and he has his friend come over. This is right in the beginning of the movie, right? And already like the dynamic is like she cheated on her husband with his friend.
With this guy that came over?
Yeah, with like the dude's friend is like,
Yeah.
oh Jim, come over here, Jim, help me, this new house and all that stuff. And there's like a scene like, I still think about you. And the first like 30 minutes, it's just like, whenever they sneak away, it's just hot, passionate sex. And like I'm watching this with my friends.
No
Like,
wonder this is why he's describing it.
I'm watching this with my
I'm
friends.
like, where's this going?
Yeah, like,
And like, bro, like
Taste
he's
this.
just dicking her down. I'm like, where does Pinhead come in? Where does the fat guy that pukes everywhere come in? For the first I'm serious. If you go to XNXX, it's gonna be 15 minutes of this.
Don't go to that on the Wi-Fi. Don't go to that on the Wi-Fi.
But it's good quality movie.
Megan Fox was recently in a not scary movie, but a very suspenseful movie.
What,
that-
Jennifer's Body?
No. She was in this. It came out this year. I think it's on Peacock. I'm not entirely sure, but I wouldn't say it's a scary movie, but it's a suspenseful movie where her husband finds out she's cheating, and he takes her to this cabin where they used to spend all their anniversaries in the middle of the winter too. He's like, no, I want to take you somewhere nice, and she's clearly on edge because she feels like he knows, and the guy that she cheated on him with is another coworker of theirs. So all three of them work together in the same building. I don't know. Not important to the story. Point is, they drive out to this cabin. She wakes up the next morning, and he's got a handcuff on his wrist and her wrist. And she's like, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "I've known the whole time." And then he shoots himself in the head.
What?
So now she's in the middle of this cabin with no electricity, has no idea what's going on, and she has to somehow try to survive. And point of the story is that she had turned somebody in who tried to kill her, and the husband actually calls him to go to the cabin without her knowing. So it's super suspenseful movie. You would think it's really cheesy, and it actually turned out to be a really fun movie that I enjoyed. And you're on edge the whole time. You're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, there's turn after turn, and even with that small spoiler of like he kills himself, the rest of the movie is still super enjoyable.
That sounds great. I love movies like that.
Yeah, and you talked about underrated. Like,
Yeah.
I've never really seen anyone talk about this movie.
What's it called?
I'm not entirely sure. Producer Rango over there. If you could please look that up. But it's a fun movie, and it
sounds like the proper way to end a marriage too. Like,
dude, it'd be the thing that I would do.
Exactly. If I caught
Jesus.
like my future spouse cheating on me, I'd go.
Yes, till death, because the whole point is till death do us part. Yeah.
Which she violated. She broke that union with God.
Yeah, it's crazy. He just shoots himself in the head.
With the Jesus Lord, Jesus Christ.
And now she's carrying this like 200-pound man on her wrist. It's fucking crazy.
That's burden she's
Cut
got
the
to
arm
carry
off,
with.
you know?
Yeah, but he
What is this, saw?
Shoot it off. you
clearly
know?
set her up. There was only one gun in the bullet.
Damn.
I know. He like planned this you find out more throughout the movie. He plans this
He was
whole thing out.
meticulous and shit.
There was like
Damn.
nothing in the fucking. The only thing he left behind for her to wear
A
was
real creep, a real
her,
engineer type.
her wedding dress. Maybe wears glasses.
It sounds like a devoted husband till the very end.
Yeah, no, it was an interesting movie. Did you guys go ahead?
I wanted to like try to sell you specifically, Luis, on the last movie. I forgot to point this out. When I first watched this, I like remembered you because like during the podcast planning process, we once said something about a Ouija board. And how you were like, you know what? Nah, that's not for me. Like, I don't need to mess with that. And like this movie, like the Pinhead movie, is like the perfect encapsulation of that feeling. Like nah, I don't need to be messing with the occult like that. Like, just because like the way that they portray like the opening of a portal to hell, and like that portal could suck you in and like turn you into this demon who's gonna suffer for like all eternity, making others do the same. It was just like, yeah, it was very graphic the way that they like quite literally turned the people into like skinless demons and everything. It kind of made you like you know what, I'm an atheist, but if hell's real, I think I might start going to church.
Start doing my due diligence.
Yeah.
There was go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, well, for a movie that I found very underrated. I don't know if you guys have seen this. Like, I haven't really. Every time I ask people about like scary movies, nobody really says that they've seen it. But it came out like randomly. The movie's called The Autopsy of Jane Doe. Have you guys ever seen it?
No. What is
That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Go on.
See, like, not a lot of people have seen it, but dude, this movie is scary. Now, just like remembering it the other day, I'm like, it's like such a random movie. It's like one of those like movies that come out at the end of the year, like horror movies that you think are just gonna make, it's just another
It goes
scary
straight
movie.
to Netflix.
Yeah, but no, dude, it was like scary because like it came out a while ago, but I saw it like after on like Netflix also. And dude, it's like scary. It started like a lot of like scary movie tropes that you see nowadays, but you don't really think about. Like because basically like the story is there's a body that they found, and like they just found it. Like the sheriffs found it, and then they bring it to like for an autopsy. And then like the more there's like not like a lot of spoilers, but the more they start like doing the autopsy, they figure out that person's not dead. And they're doing like a whole autopsy and they're not dead, but they're not just like, it's like a lot of stuff starts happening, and a lot of like the tropes you see nowadays of like the bells ringing in those autopsy rooms when like the people are moving.
Yeah,
that's happening, like things moving out of place. Dude, it was like a scary movie. It was like a good movie too. And not a lot of people have seen it. Every time I ask people, it's like, oh no, I haven't seen it. It's like, dude, that was a good movie.
That's not the one movie where like there's a grandma that becomes a snake.
No, it's
right?
not that. It's like, no, basically they just bring down like a body that some sheriffs found that it was like buried. And then they like, can you figure out why they died? And then they like start like performing the autopsy. He's like, yeah, this person's not dead, but they had already like cut them open and stuff.
Oh,
and it's
like,
shit.
That's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah. Fuck. No, I mean, movies now are just, it's like every 2 weeks there's like a brand new cinematic universe coming out. One that just came to an end was Halloween.
Oh yeah.
They just released a third movie called Halloween Ends.
Yep.
With Mike Myers. They kind of made like a prequel reboot series with Jamie Lee Curtis. So they ended up like revamping. This is the third one, but The most recent one, spoiler alert, fucking sucks. I thought it was so bad.
It was bad. I saw it.
You
too.
did see it too?
Yeah, it was bad.
It didn't make any sense, and Michael Myers is barely in the movie.
Not only is he like in the movie, they try to make like a whole other story that was going nowhere.
Yeah, it was 2 hours. In the first hour, you maybe see Michael Myers once. Like, you see him for what, like 30 seconds?
Yeah, and then like even when they show him, you're not really like scared of him like you should be. Like in the
you
other
sympathize
movies.
with him. You're like, you
Not
know what?
even
He's
that.
misunderstood.
It was just
I don't know if
pointless.
this is a spoiler, but they made him like just like a pretty much like he's just a mess. He's just
I
walking
think we
around,
should-
stumbling
yeah.
around, like doing nothing.
We probably should spoil it. The movie's on Peacock. It's been out for 2 weeks. Peacock is $5 or 7-day free trial.
It's been out for 2 weeks. You've had your chance.
Exactly.
People.
Wait, the original with the reboot Halloween or like the new one that just came out?
The new one that just came out.
It's on Peacock?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay.
Do you mind if we spoil it?
Spoil it. Let's go.
Okay. There is this other character. The movie starts with this other guy.
Oh my God, there's a black Michael Myers.
You might want to cut that out. You might want to cut that for your sake. So
hold on there.
what's his name? Johnny?
I forgot his name actually. Let me look it up.
So there's this. The movie starts off with like very classic, cliche. Like there's this little kid and he's messing around with this other guy, and he's like late teens, early 20s, and he goes, and they're playing hide and seek or something, and the little kid's just fucking around with him, and it gets to the point where the little kid pretends he's hiding in a storage room, which is like all the way on like a 3rd-story house. And he locks the adult in there, and the adult is like jamming with the fucking doorknob, and he's like, "Let me out! Let me out! Let me out!" And the kid's like, "Ah, fuck you!" And he kicks the door open, and the kid falls from the 3rd story, like down the stairs, straight onto the floor, and dies. And the whole story, most of the movie, is about the guy who accidentally killed the kid, how he was a good kid, and that one death ended up messing him up, and the whole town turned against him, and he ends up going on a killing spree. And
What?
it is really and it's like a rom-com.
It's like the original Columbine.
It is so strange.
I never knew that. That sucks.
It is.
Even hearing about that sucks.
Yeah, I think the worst part about that movie is how they made Michael Myers feel like he's always been like this person that doesn't die. He's always like super strong and everything. But he gets beat up by everyone in this movie. Like everyone's kicking his ass. Like every single person he comes in contact with kicks his ass. It's like, what?
Gets his absolute ass kicked. And then the worst of it is how he like dies. Like it wasn't like him like fighting tooth and nail. Like in that case, they should have just ended the movie series after the first one, or like done this in the last movie, or like not made the movie 2.5 hours long. Like the whole town, like Leo said, they kicked his ass. They put him through a trash compactor.
Oh, that's how they get rid of
That's one thing I kind of liked from the movie was like how the sheriff is like, no, we don't care. He's been haunting this town for too long. And they put him in a cop car and they just like parade him around the town. It's like, yeah that's what you should have done.
It is, and there's like a romance storyline in the movie
with him and his sister. Or
no, with like the sister's granddaughter and this new guy.
Oh, it's Corey, the
guy's name is Corey. Yeah, with Corey and then the sister's because she was also there in the very first movie.
Mm-hmm.
The movie doesn't make any sense, and I watched it for this podcast hoping like, I might get something out of it. It was just stupid.
Nope.
You know what you should watch is Werewolf by Night on Marvel on Disney Plus.
Disney, yeah. I haven't seen it, but I heard great things
on
about
Marvel.
It's a Marvel Presents, and they made this like this scary like 90s trope movie with a werewolf, and it's actually very good.
It's like the in the style of like the original monster horror films of like the creature from the Black Lagoon and the man wolf or werewolf and Frankenstein.
Those old 20s and like early like the very first movies in cinema.
It's like black and white, and like if you look at the film, like there's even like they even added like little like circles,
the cigarette burns.
Yeah. To make it more authentic and whatnot.
That's cool.
Don't waste your time watching Halloween. Fucking ends.
Halloween sucks.
I'm upset that they changed the lore because in the original Halloween it was like the mom's a stripper, a whore, and like for real in the original Halloween, she's a stripper and a whore,
Give
and
me
like
the original.
she like the son has like the mom brings a boyfriend over and like beats the shit out of her
We
or
need
something.
more sex workers on
And
TV.
then like Mike Myers is like a sick fuck. He's killing animals too at this point. So he ties up the husband or the boyfriend like in duct tape and cuts his throat. And then but he's about to kill his sister because he's crazy. And then the cop comes in and he's like, oh, they sent him to an insane asylum. Eventually he breaks out once he's an adult and he goes on a killing spree. But the thing that was always badass about those movies was the good guy. There was always this one fat good guy detective that was like, he's British. He's like, Michael Myers was here. And it's on the trail of Michael Myers. And he was classic for those who are into the Halloween movies.
Yeah.
Just like within the original, like maybe 4 of them. Then the actor finally died and they read him off the Halloween, movie, I guess.
It was
It was badass though.
This-
If you want to look at the bold fat guy from the original
this
Halloween.
one was just fucking lame. It was boring. It was confusing, and it was just like, what was the point of this one?
That's why you gotta watch the Hellraiser one, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch the Hellraiser.
Watch
Isn't
the
there
original.
Isn't there
Nah,
like
fuck
10
the
Hellraiser
original.
movies though?
Bro, the original is so way better.
Watch the remake one, because
No.
first of all, like I've seen the old ones and the effects look like garbage.
Bro, are you kidding me?
Like
The Pinhead, how he comes out and like they skin the lady, the hot naked lady, and they skin her and she's taking her breast meat out. That's
Yeah.
poor garbage for the 80s. You're garbage then. That's basura.
all right,
You're a CGI guy, ain't you? You're a
No,
big
I'm
Marvel
not.
guy.
I bet you're a Marvel dweeb.
I'm not.
You don't enjoy any movie unless it's got 2 guys in green screen.
The hours of prosthetics of the fat guy. There's this cool fat guy with glasses. He's like,
Oh, is that the engineer, the doctor?
no, because like his whole thing. I think he was a child rapist or a child predator.
Oh, okay.
And like he's just a gross, nasty. He looks like EDP 45 or whatever. That big fat guy from Pennsylvania. It's like
EDP?
EDP, yeah.
Yeah.
Like eat the. What was this big thing?
Eat
like
the pussy.
yeah, eat the pussy like cupcakes or some shit or something. I don't know, but yeah, the prosthetics for that guy was pretty cool.
Well, wow, what a riveting episode.
Are we even?
Yeah, we are.
wow.
Good, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, wow. The time goes by. Time goes by fast when you're part of
Gentlemen,
the
it's
Beatles.
been an honor enjoying Spooktober with you.
It's been a really
One
a
last
real
aside
pleasure.
that
Please,
I
go ahead.
I forgot we were gonna make. Did you guys know that the movie Psycho and I believe, well, obviously everyone knows Texas Chainsaw Massacre was influenced by Ed Gein, but did you know also Psycho? Like
Norman Bates.
Yeah, and the Bates Motel.
Yeah, you told us that.
Yeah.
Last week, literally last week.
All right, cool. All right.
You did tell us that.
I thought okay, then we'll edit that shit out, and then we're good to go.
Nope, it shows that who actually cares.
Did you
Good night,
know
everybody.
that Psycho got 3 sequels with the same actor? They made 4 Psychos. 4.
The original franchise. There you go.
4. You stop at 3.
Alfred
You
Hitchcock.
maybe get a second one. You stop at 3.
American Psycho's not part of that, right?
No, it's not. No.
Okay.
Completely different.
It's different, but it's also got a lot of similar energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the energy
Yeah.
is really there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so. I get why you asked the question. Yeah.
Well, on that note, go out and enjoy your favorite movies. Maybe you want to spank a little to the movie. We won't judge you.
This guy's your encyclopedia for Spank Bang.
We won't judge you. But it's been an honor. It's been a privilege.
Yeah, and email Bro Taste This with your favorite Spank Bang material, and Phill will make an encyclopedia with it.
Don't even email us. Just put it on our Instagram.
All right.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Perfect. Everyone have a beautiful week.